The resilient supply chain. Well, joining us today to speak about that, Paul Webb, Regional Vice President, Enterprise Supply Chain at Coupa. Paul, it's great to see you. Welcome.
Thank you, Russell. Very pleased to be here.
Paul, let's talk about a resilient supply chain, because after all, this is the age where we are seeing all manner of disruptions taking place. So let's talk about what resilience means when we talk about supply chain. What do you say?
Yeah, excellent question. Yeah, resilience really breaks down, and there is a lot of disruptions out there. So resilience really breaks down into three components. First of all, you've got your efficiency, then you've got your flexibility, then you've got your responsiveness. So let's unpack that a little bit. Sure. So efficiency is really, have we structured our supply chains to be as efficient as possible? Well, to answer that question, you really got to understand, how have you structured your supply chain? What is a by design supply chain state, right? So we configure our planning systems and we have by design. So a key question there would be, do you know how much of your spend or your unit volume is going not by design, and what's the cost per unit of that, right? So to answer the efficiency is, do we know how much is by design versus rogue shipment? So understanding is key to that. Second one is flexibility. Mm-hmm. So as these disruptions come through, how flexible are we? So flexibility is, can we orchestrate changes in our supply chain to respond, and are they executable? Like, do we know how we're going to change the planning system to orchestrate a different supply chain in different events? And then the third piece of that is the responsiveness piece. So responsiveness is really, it comes down to how long is it taking to make decisions, right? In my experience, when these disruptions come through, it's really not a case of one disruption. Normally you have this waterfall effect of one disruption leads to something else, leads to something else. So you've got this cascading kind of situation that people have to deal with. In those situations, there's a lot of leadership people out there, a lot of very skilled people. Everyone has opinions and spreadsheets. So everyone's coming to the table with advice and know-how, right? But really, how long does it take to align the organization in terms of what should we do and how do we actually execute against that? So supply chain resilience really comes down to those three key elements. How quickly can you respond, and can you respond appropriately to some of these disruptions?
That is a great walkthrough through the issue of resilience, I must say. Thank you for that. I want to turn to the various systems. Let's talk about supply chain optimization. Let's talk about supply chain planning systems. And if we might, let's kind of contrast them. Just kind of discuss, one versus the other, if you will. What do you say?
Yeah, this and it's a great question, Russell. And there's really been a rise in these optimization systems, and that's partly due to technology. So if you think, I like to orchestrate this, the different systems down into its components or end products, right? So an ERP system, the end result of an ERP system comes down to a record of activity, right? So for accounting purposes and everything else, right? So that's the ERP system. A planning system, the end result of that is a transaction order, be it a work order into production, be it a transfer, be it a shipment. It's a transaction order into an ERP system. So then the question is, what is the output of an optimization system, a supply chain optimization system? The end output is a supply chain policy. And your policy really comes down to what should my inventory policy be? What should be my transportation policy be? Inventory, transportation, what should my product flow be? Where should I source stuff and how should I flow it? So the end output of that optimization system is your policies that you should adopt into your planning system. And then your planning system is really a shorter range control of how you want to replenish and make that product available to your customers, right? So planning systems are closer in, optimization systems are longer term supply chain design tools, and the output of those is your supply chain policies.
Another great walkthrough, I must say. Listen, I want you to sort of look down the road just a bit. Let's talk about the future as you see it of supply chains, perhaps in general, but more particularly in the U.S. What's coming? What's next?
Yeah, so my own view, and it's my own opinion, is I don't think we're past all of the disruptions. There's still a lot of global uncertainty out there. There's still stuff on the horizon. I think we're still dealing with some of the past disruptions. Right. People got very heavy with inventory. They're bleeding that out now. But the expectation that we're going to go back to level keel, I think that might be misplaced. And the reason being is planning systems largely run on historical data, right? So a lot of people are using customer orders as that signal to how should I replenish in the future, demand forecast, etc. And if you're not using orders, maybe you swapped over to invoices, but through supply chain shortages, your invoice stream is kind of messed up as well. So I don't think we're past the disruptions because I think everyone's baseline or the feed into the planning systems is not as clean as it potentially could be. So the first thing I think out there is there's more disruptions, there's apprehension, economy, global uncertainty, etc. But I think the biggest thing that really is going to impact us over the next year, 2 years, is probably a labor shortage. I don't think we've got the skill sets as people are, and there's a lot of focus on supply chain at the moment. A lot of people are asking much better questions in terms of how we orchestrating, how we standing up our supply chains. I think the labor shortage into some of these new skills is not there. Now, AI will help a little bit, but I don't think it's going to get us all the way there. I still think we're going to be short in the labor market, and I think that's going to impact people.
Very, very interesting. Final question to you, but briefly tell us about Coupa itself, for the benefit of somebody who's not entirely familiar with the company, just what its focus is. Talk to us about Coupa. Tell us a little something about it.
So Coupa, so I'm new to Coupa. I've been a 3 times practitioner of supply chain design planning systems, namely LlamaSoft. So I've joined the Coupa team. Coupa is a business spend management platform. They handle everything from procure to pay, finances, and such. Coupa acquired LlamaSoft, and now supply chain design is in there. Coupa is traditionally been more focused on indirect spend. They're moving more to direct spend. Mm-hmm. And I think there's several articles on it. We're bringing together supply chain finance and procurement in more of a seamless flow. I think that's Coupa's main focus here. So as Coupa moves more to direct spend, it goes right into the supply chain world, right? So we gave a talk here at Gartner. I think there's a lot of energized people here at Gartner, which is fantastic. But we gave a talk specifically on how can you go from your supply chain design, create a digital twin where you can test scenarios using our new AI prescriptions capabilities. So that's instead of the modeler hypothesizing on what goods should look like, our AI capability will now go and test thousands of different scenarios and come back with a list of this is the biggest opportunities in your supply chain. And then Coupa has the capability where you can select some of those, whichever ones, validate them, adopt them and take them straight out to bid to the carrier base or wherever it's going and orchestrate, adopt it into your supply chain. And then that's your new by design supply chain state. So it's giving more control to supply chain leaders in the C-suite over their supply chains.
Well, great information and terrific interview. Thank you for finding the time to speak with us today. Appreciate that very much.
Thank you, Russell. It was great being here.
It's Paul Webb, Coupa, speaking with us today about resilient supply chains, planning systems, and direct spend management. Thanks for watching.